Three, two, one. How in the
Transformers:
name?
Revenge of the Fallen.
I was gonna say Nicolas Cage's great line from the movie, but you know what? Sure. That works as
Transformers: Revenge
well.
of the Fallen is a 2009 action sci-fi movie directed by Michael Bay and produced partially by Steven Spielberg. It was actually written, quote unquote, during the writer's strike of around 2008. Hence why what is the quote that you are? There's quite a few good Cage quotes in this. We're actually talking about The Rock, by the way. You've been juked. Just kidding. It's literally in the title of the fucking video.
Yeah. Hello, guys, and welcome to Baycast. I said the Baycast in the first one, but I changed the Baycast because that sounds.
We don't need those. We don't need those. Thus.
Yeah. I'm your host Jacob, and this is my host Michael, where we talk about every single Michael Bay movie. Not this Michael; it's a different Michael.
Unfortunately, I did not direct this movie.
Yeah.
I would have killed to meet Sean Connery.
Very much so. So, let's start this episode with a little piece of Michael Bay trivia, Brivia, if you will. Apparently, The Rock was his favorite movie ever made, and Sean Connery was his favorite actor he ever worked with. So, going to the movie with that knowledge, I think it's pretty easy to see why.
I find one of those statements surprising. I think the Sean Connery being his favorite actor thing makes sense because I was researching, and it looks like Bay was gotten to a lot of normal Bay nonsense on set, and Sean Connery's like, no, she's doing fine. Like the higher ups would be like, Michael Bay, what the fuck you doing? And then Sean Connery would actually stand up for him. I think that's why he's his favorite actor, because he put up with this shit and actually enabled it. But the statement of it being his favorite movie, I mean, I can see that because it's probably his best of at least what I've seen, which is most of the ones after a certain point. But it being his favorite movie is interesting because almost all of them after this have some degree of, besides Bad Boys 2, have some degree of military, helicopters, U.S. guys, which you get a lot of in this movie, but it's mostly the antagonist.
Yeah, that
so
is true.
Ideologically, I'm surprised that he agrees with this because it makes more military men the villains than it does the protagonist.
Oh my god, yeah.
I don't know. Food for thought.
Yeah. Going through that, I should say, I think I really enjoyed this movie. It's not like a masterpiece or anything, but like
it's fun. It's actually fucking fun.
Yeah.
Watching Bad Boys, I wasn't miserable, but I didn't really feel anything. But there were moments where I was like, yeah, like an action movie. The car chase is way better than the car chase in Bad Boys, even though it ends the exact same way with the protagonist. The protagonist, the sweeping bottom camera shot just from that movie.
Yeah.
The shootouts. It's like, oh, they're more weirdly cut. I think in this movie they actually had a purpose, and this isn't the beginning and end of the movie. This is just general, like all throughout.
There's a lot of better.
There's a lot of guys with guns
better than Bad Boys, which says a lot because this movie only came out like a year after Bad Boys. So I think he really upped his.
It's pretty impressive.
But yeah.
Specifically about the shootouts, the action, because that is a decent amount of the action. There's some hand-to-hand stuff. It's still fairly subdued, like in Bad Boys. But this movie, which is surprising for Bay, brings into question the morality of the military and how the government treats them. And that when there were shootouts, it was usually the what's his name? Ed Harris's splinter group versus the actual Pentagon sent Marines. And it was always like, you can't see who's getting shot. And I thought that, like, I'm looking too hard in this movie, but I'm like, that makes sense.
Bay a bit. Like, because movie is a bit critical of the military in regards to, like, probably a certain type, like, a certain group of the military. That I guess
not all of them. It's not completely incriminating, but it does seem to have a message with that. Yeah. And the action with the military guys, besides the very end being mostly just bullets flying, you can't tell who's getting shot, was kind of like they're all muddled up. Their lives are as lost as the troops that Ed Harris lost. I thought, in the moment, I was thinking that, which is very strange because these sorts of movies usually don't elicit that kind of thought from me, especially not in the moment. But
yeah.
I don't know. I'm like, could there be a point to this? Probably not, but because it's a fucking furnace in Alcatraz, you know. There's some shit that makes no sense. The green like bionicle orbs that can
Oh my god,
corrode
yeah, I was
people.
gonna say that. But well, I'll get to that when we. All right, what do you say that we start talking about the plot of the movie first? But and I'll get into like the green orbs about it.
You want to actually do the plot? I have a thing
Yeah,
about the
sure.
plot that really fucked with me, and another point that really messed with me until a certain point in the movie. But you go ahead and explain the real plot. I'll tell you what
So
I thought
yeah,
the plot was.
yeah, the opening credits of this movie were complete sensory overload. Like and like it starts out with like a military funeral, and they're just random ass explosions and close ups of Ed Harris's face. So I was like, oh Jesus Christ! Of course, it's a Michael Bay movie. And when he at the end of it, when he said, when he went to his dead wife, he was like, uh, I miss you so
Barbara.
much. I'm gonna finish. Forgive me for what I'm about to do. I was like, oh, is he like the villain in this? Because like Ed Harris like is not a person who I expect to, even though he does like kind of play a couple like villain archetypes. Like I didn't expect him to be like the main like cold blooded villain of this
The
movie.
big bad
Yeah,
for most of the movie.
yeah, and I think he did okay, but I think the other two leads were way more entertaining than him.
About
My,
Ed Harris' character, I agree. I don't think it was a particularly great performance. I think the character was somewhat interesting because he actually changes, and it's not like Nick Cage goes to him, you know what you're doing is bad, and you have to stop. Or Sean Connery's like stop this fucking. It's like he does kind of do that, but he just thinks, and his thinking changes based on the closer it gets to the deadline where he's going to fire these missiles, because that's
uh-huh.
his plan, is to hold hostages, and if they don't, he doesn't get a shit ton of money, he'll blow up San Francisco. That's essentially the plot
Well,
and his plan.
yeah, that's a plot. But actually, for like the first like 30 or so minutes of the movie, you don't know like his actual plan because you see him go off like on this like weird
Plotting.
yeah this weird heist thing with a couple of his buddies to steal like the green Orbeez missiles.
The
I
little
thought they were like
Orbeez.
Orbeez.
I was thinking the Lego Hero Factory like projectile launchers. That's what I was thinking. They have
Yeah,
they look exactly
you
the
know
same
what?
as a few I remember owning.
Yeah, that could work too. There's some really funny parts in that scene, like the one camo guy. You know what I'm talking about? Where like he like stares directly into the camera, and then he turns around and shoots those two guys.
That's the very end, right?
Oh wait, was it that?
Or
No, I thought. Oh
there
wait,
was
we're
a
thinking about
scene.
different
There was.
scenes.
I think there's two different scenes where someone looks directly into the camera and then tries to shoot two different men with a gun.
Okay, because I'm like thinking of like
One
this.
at the beginning, one
Yeah.
at the end. Because I think I know what you're thinking of.
All right, yeah. So I thought that scene was like pretty entertaining, and but I was like, okay, what the fuck are they trying to do? Like,
Yeah.
like I guess like it is. I'm not sure if it was a good idea to like hold his intentions until like 30 minutes in the movie because at first you're like, okay, what's happening? But then I guess that kind of builds some intrigue, and I didn't really mind it too much. But yeah,
I'll explain how my experience for that. The first like 20, I don't think it's 30. I think it's closer to 20 until you see that he's really doing evil shit and he begins to describe
yeah,
the green Orbeez. But when it was setting up the whole beginning where they have the hostages from the tour group, I'm like, and he talks about the missiles. Like he says like there are missiles here, and I thought the first 20 minutes of this like 2 hour movie, I'm like, oh shit, there's gonna be terrorists. Thank God Ed
yeah.
Harris is here to stop them. I'm like, and then like literally, I did the stupidest thing possibly I've ever thought. Like that is the level of brain power this movie expects you to have, because then it tries to reveal him as a villain.
Yeah.
And to
Oh,
me, it actually worked because I was just my no thoughts, head empty.
oh, Ed
Explaining,
Harris is the
Ed Harris
savior
is
of
a
the
Vietnam
movie.
sorry, Ed Harris is a Vietnam vet. He's literally the most decorated fucking man ever. And now he's striking against us. I'm like, striking against. Oh my fucking god! And then I realized that those weren't people he was keeping safe. Those were hostages. Like
Yeah.
the most embarrassing fucking
No, it's
experience with
okay.
this
It's a Michael
movie.
Bay movie. You shouldn't have expect to have that much brain power.
Well, I was thinking. Well, then later in the movie, I'm like, the thing with the bullets, with the shootouts. I was thinking way too hard, so I guess I had to compensate for it later in the movie.
All right.
But
Yeah.
it's generally pretty fun. It's not the most cerebral, but it's not as stupid as the Transformers movies. Even though there were as many explosions in one particular scene, we'll
Mm-hmm.
eventually get there, I assume.
Yeah. Oh wait, hold on. Can we pause for a second? Just want to make sure I'm recording. Oh, yeah, okay, I'm good, we're good. Okay.
Yo, we're still recording.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll edit that out later, but wait, whatever. All right, so yeah. So we had that funny scene, and then I believe the scene after they get all the bionicle gas or whatever, we're introduced to Cage's character, who, you know, as usual for Cage, he's with a woman who's way better than him.
Like Martin Lawrence in Bad Boys.
Yeah. Yeah, Cage and Bay. So it's like combined into two things, because like Michael Bay characters have women who are too good for them. And
they double down.
Cage's
at least
has women who are too good for him. So it's like combined into one thing.
They doubled down and they made the woman have even less agency than I expected.
Yeah. At first I was like, okay, like in that one scene she was like fairly entertaining.
Seemed nice. She was friendly.
But then she was like barely in the rest of the movie. But that only happens after that Nick Cage has to defuse a baby gas doll bomb.
Yeah, a fucking doll with grass.
And like, so yeah, he's a biochemist in this movie. And he has to defuse that bomb that got sent to them for some reason. And that's
interesting.
Really funny.
Because an interesting occupation
later with
I was just saying, I think it's an interesting occupation. He's part of the FBI, yes. Like, he's part of the government. He's one of those guys. But like, biochemist and like chemistry specialist is like actually kind of an interesting role for a protagonist.
Yeah, you don't see much of those in, like,
obviously the plot revolves around it, so he needs to be. But if you look at something more recent, like No Time to Die, that's about a very similar thing, and there's no fucking biochemists. They could have used Nick Cage.
In James Bond? I didn't think so.
There is a James Bond in this movie.
Oh yeah, but don't like some people consider this like the last like Sean Connery James Bond movie? Like
I have never heard that, but honestly, I'd be willing to accept that Sean Connery was fucking awesome in this movie.
Yeah, yeah, we'll get to that soon. But yeah, this scene sets up something that happens later in the movie with I think the entropy, is that what they call it? Like the giant needle? Or like, take the entropy now. And it's like
they named the needle, stuff the needle had a name. I thought it was just like the miracle fluid. Like I didn't notice that it had a name. But you're probably right.
I think they called it entropy. I was like,
entropy sounds right, because that sounds fitting.
Yeah, I thought it was very funny, and I was like, and like Nick Cage's partner was like, I don't want to stay dead in my heart. I was like, yeah, I feel you on that. Like,
I think that scene was supposed to be funny.
Michael Bay is giving really realistic dialogue to that, because I wouldn't want to say
we've come to the same conclusion. The scene was supposed to be funny because Michael Bay added the F word, which is his way of making things funny with rated R movies.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Yeah. And then after Nick Cage saves the day, he goes back to his apartment and plays the guitar naked and like plays Beatles.
I forgot that's how he just cuts to him.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny too. That was after an already funny scene. Go twofer.
And then his like girlfriend tells him that that she's pregnant, which I have to admit is a pretty much a stereotypical thing in like most blockbusters, like in the 80s or 90s, where you have like a girlfriend who's pregnant and now you have to like protect them, because then you have two people pregnant now because now you have a kid on the way. Like
not just that, but Nick, that's the seconds after. She says like 7 seconds. That's not true. After Nick Cage is like, this world is so fucked up. I never have a kid.
Yeah.
Like, he says the most hurtful, fucking cynical thing imaginable before the news. Like, I know it's supposed to be like, it's a irony, but it's like, I rolled my eyes there.
7 seconds ago was a changed man.
Yeah, his retort was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Nick Cage in this is also it's Nick Cage, but he's allowed to be. I was like, action movie. Oh my god, they're gonna make him boring. No, they didn't.
Yeah, I love crazy 90s Nick Cage. Like this and Face Off, I think would be like a perfect like double feature to show like his like action scene performances.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
Yeah,
they're both fun movies.
Yeah, I think I like both of them around equally. Although Face Off is just like, on another level batshit insane.
Face Off is stupider.
Yeah.
But I think they both equal out to being about as good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say it's fair. All right, what happened next? So then...
Nick Cage introduction?
Yeah, so we're introduced him. And then I think that's the part where Ed Harris and his buddies hijack Alcatraz and hold all the people hostage. which
that's when they start contacting the government while they're there. They set up shop pretty early on.
Did I skip a scene because I watched it like a few days ago and you just watched it like 10 minutes ago? So
No, not necessarily. No, you're right that it goes pretty much from Nick Cage stuff, and then he gets the call like Nick Cage, we need you to go to San Francisco, and then it goes back to the essentially the terrorist perspective.
Right. Yeah. So I think like this was like around the point where like they hold people hostage and then like they call like the Pentagon or whatever and tell them, and he tells them their master plan. And Ed Harris tells them their master plan.
He explains his entire plan to
which
them.
like okay, I kind of like what they did with it, but like at the same time, like it seems like such like a drastic step that like his like dead comrades aren't getting like compensation to. I will blow up an entire fucking city.
I will kill millions. And the thing is, you start off and like that's fucking ridiculous. Who is this like supervillain? This is this the Joker or some shit? And then later he begins to have a bit of a change of heart, and he's like, "Wait a minute, what the fuck am I doing?" It's like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I think that's an interesting. I'm not going to say it's the best written angle, but it is more engaging than having to be a cartoon like mustache twirling villain. Like I'll admit, I think most of his compatriots were fucking unbearably generic.
Yeah,
like Tony Todd and Michael Biehn.
The Candyman. Oh my god, he was like really funny in some parts because he was like definitely like the most evil and irrational.
That's he was actually evil. And I know I made a joke about Revenge of the Fallen at the beginning, but Tony Todd was also in that. Maybe that's how.
As well. Oh,
he's the Fallen, Jacob.
Oh,
it's like I will destroy the sun. That's not what he sounds like, but that's what he wants to do. Spoiler alert for Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen. Is that even true? I don't fucking know. Back to the Rock.
Yeah, back to the Rock. So yeah, we get all the plan, and there's like, then I think there's like a good like 5 to 10 minutes of just like military jargon that you don't really care about.
Yeah, it's setting up this. It's supposed to be setting up the stakes, but you already know the stakes because it's hostages, and they, like you start off as hostages. Oh no, we got stakes, and then it's like, oh, the whole San Francisco, the whole ass fucking city. Oh, okay, double stakes, and now it's going over. No, he's disgruntled. We have something to do with this? No, we couldn't have. We're the military. We're the government. We need people to help us, and then they get. I said his name like a million times. It's Nick Cage's character.
Something.
Not John.
Wait. I don't know why John Madden just came to mind.
Good speed.
Oh wait, sorry. I was thinking about. Oh no, John Patrick Mason is Sean Connery's main, and Stanley Goodspeed is
Goodspeed.
I thought it was Goodsby, like BY for like most of the movie, and they made a joke about how his name is Goodspeed at the end. So I was like, oh, okay.
I had subtitles, so I kept reading it as Godspeed. So when they had the joke at the end, I'm like, okay, we've come full circle. So I had like the opposite experience.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Nevertheless.
Yeah, they're really funny names. Anyway, yeah. So that whole like part was like basically just to introduce Sean Connery's character, and I just had to mention a funny line that Philip Baker Hall said, where he said, "I have to get up 3 times at night to take a piss." Because he's comparing himself to
old to him, Connery. And they're both old, but he's like he's dangerous old. I'm regular old.
Yeah,
which was strange because everyone in the military is supposed to be serious. In this movie, the moments that are comedic are almost entirely from Cage or workings around like the Cage, a little bit of that Tony Todd evilness, but it makes me think that Nick Cage just made up shit, and Bay's like, "Yep, that's good."
I'm sure there's a bunch of improv from Cage.
If you remove the Cage silly lines from this movie, it's a really fucking dark movie.
Yeah, it in some ways, yeah, but like,
it doesn't feel like it when you're watching because Nick Cage is saying stupid shit every. I mean, I love him. I'm not saying you should stop, but you get what I mean.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Because for the most part, this like. Not the tone, but like I guess like the plot at hand is kind of dark. But like since it's a '90s stupid action movie, like
it has to be
romantic
silly
in some way, and this is romantic in a lot of ways. Because it has like a lot of like it has like the average guy who has to make sure the city doesn't get blown up, so his wife or his girlfriend.
Well,
and
not
kid
just the average guy, the dweeb.
The dweeb, yeah. But that's not necessarily a bad thing though, because if it makes the movie more enjoyable, then
Once again, the Bad Boys effect. I wouldn't like that movie nearly as much if they didn't make it abundantly clear that Martin Lawrence is a fucking loser.
Yeah. I guess
same thing happens here. If Nick Cage was like cool and like more rich and played by like a quote unquote real action actor, I don't think I like this movie very much.
Yeah, imagine the same thing, but with like fucking who was like big at the time? Dolph Lundgren.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah, like even though I love both of them, and they serve like their own archetypes well.
They wouldn't fit with something like
this.
They
would not fit Nicolas Cage's character.
No. Well, very few can. It is Nick Cage. But,
so anyway.
but we were transitioning from Nick Cage to, our boy, Sean Connery playing John Patrick Mason.
Oh my god.
Whose introduction, so I love his introduction. Like, I think the introduction scene
he's a Gandalf-looking motherfucker in the beginning.
Yeah, he starts off, he reminds me of Zahir.
Oh, it's ironic
Nakora.
Because he was offered to play Gandalf, but he decided to turn it down because he's lazy, I guess. But yeah, he looked kind of like Gandalf.
In the 2000s, he began to care a lot less. But have you seen Legend of Korra?
No, I have not. Wait, who did you say that again?
There's a character Zahir who starts it's season 3. He starts the season looking exactly like Sean Connery, and then he shaves and such, and he looks.
I'm looking at a picture of him right now. Yeah, he does look like it.
That's the first thing that came to mind, but I'm like, I can see it. But he's introduced in this sort of Hannibal Lecter, not exactly Hannibal Lecter way, but this guy's a dangerous criminal. We don't know much about him. He's dangerous. And Nick Cage comes in. He is a chemist. He is not a proper FBI interrogation guy. So Sean Connery is fucking running circles around him verbally. And he's always up to something. He's plotting.
He's so devious in this movie. Like every line is very sarcastic.
He's devious, but he's not mean.
No.
He's very polite, but he's also sinister. I don't know how they managed it, but I love this character in this movie. I think with a generic this guy is a Sean Convict. That's what we're calling him now.
Sean Convict. Okay, I'll roll that.
You got to change one character name per episode. No, we don't need to do that. We don't need to do that, but it is funny.
Yeah.
But he's you're clearly not a guy who's experienced with guns. Yes, I am. I've killed many people. I've done so much field work. No, you fucking haven't, you buffoon. And then he takes a fucking quarter and he
oh my god, the quarter scene where he fucking punches the glass.
That was literally the coolest thing ever for no reason. Yeah. He did not need to go that hard.
Why?
And then he just peers his head through. He's like, oh, hello, guy I don't like. How's it going, shithead?
Yeah.
He didn't need to do it, but it just made that scene so much better. And then he escapes, and then the car scene happens. It's actually a really, sick, 20, 30 minutes. Was the
car scene there? Or, because, I feel like he had, the haircut and went to the hotel first.
He went to the hotel, and then he broke free. Yeah, I'm forgetting the hotel. It was fairly brief, the hotel scene. You think
there was the gay barber. The stereotypical gay Michael Bay character.
That's Michael Bay. Yeah, Michael Bay was making a joke that Martin Lawrence could have been gay in Bad Boys. He's reverted to just having Jeffree Star in this fucking movie.
Oh my god. Yeah, that that whole part where you're singing in the shower, acting all devious. Is the third word to describe him. This Sean Connery in this movie. He's so funny.
He's wonderful.
Yeah. I just wrote down. Oh yeah, never mind. I wrote down the string maneuver, and I was trying to figure out what that was for a second.
You don't remember the string maneuver? I was just gonna mention it. So I'm glad you did. He takes a string or rope of some kind that is inexplicably right next to the shower.
Right.
He wraps around his hands and then puts it in his cufflinks, so it's hidden. Then he takes the one government guy that he hates because he fucking threw him in jail with no trial, and then he goes to handshake him. He goes to shake his hand, should I say. And then he wraps him and he dangles him over a building.
Yeah, that was that was really good.
He honestly good play on that one. Bravo, Sean.
Yeah, and then they fucking have to ration with him to not kill this guy. and then I guess like somewhere down the line, he escapes, and then we have like that big car chase. Actually, I wrote down right before that scene. This isn't much of an action movie so far. They're literally right after that. Compared to the rest of the movie, it's like action, like
mostly action.
Yeah,
which I think is better balanced for a Michael Bay movie. Yeah. I mean, he's done most of the time. Like after this, it's except for Armageddon, it's mostly action movies that just action everywhere, and then the last half is all action. These are movies that start off with very little action, and the last half is fully action. I think that makes more sense.
Yeah,
it builds more. Once again, I keep referencing
you're wasting as, like 90% of your budget on the first 15 minutes of the movie or whatever. Or like,
yeah, for the fucking planes and stuff.
Yeah,
I mean, we'll get to bad action pacing in Transformers 3, 4, and 5, where half of the movie is one action scene for each of them.
I can picture that right now, and I'm not looking forward to that.
I'm gonna keep mentioning them to fucking not to hype you up, to scare you. Like, you should be afraid. Transformers 2 does it too. Literally,
I can't wait to waste 7.5 hours of my time. No, 9 hours of my time watching bad Transformers movies.
Hey, one of them's okay.
Yeah.
One of 5. Sorry. Okay. So I just action pacing, you can see it develop, because in Bad Boys there's a little more nuance. Like, there's some one scene here, one scene here. This movie, it's just the whole fucking last half.
Yeah, but like I don't think that's a bad thing though, because I think for the most part it was like fairly well executed, especially this car chase.
This car chase it's got quips, it's got silly stuff, but I didn't feel it. Even though I felt it a little bit later in the movie, I didn't think most of the quips in the car chase were that. What's the word I'm looking for? Like out of place. Yeah, Sean Connery would like run over like a bicycle and be like, "Oh, I'm sorry about that." And then Nick Cage Nick Cage's arc in this is essentially becoming an action hero. Think like The Mummy or something like that.
Mm-hmm. This is like very similar to the car chase, or like I guess car/foot chase in Bad Boys, in that like it has like the whole like random character like side plot thing where like. Or not side plot, where like you keep like running into like random buildings or like random people on the street, and like they have like one like funny line. Oh yeah, wasn't there like, oh my god, there was like the same exact quip. It was like the people in wheelchairs, like in like
you noticed that was the same fucking gag from Bad Boys, right?
I wonder if they reused footage for that or something.
It's not reused footage. I know it's not. I remember it being a different shot, but it could have been the same people.
Yeah.
I want it to be. And about that scene, was good. The action is actually fairly. It's not shot too nauseatingly yet.
Oh, yeah.
But my favorite part was see in Bad Boys there was a scene with the shopkeep, and I'm like, this isn't funny. This is just like, oh, this guy's just cursing and it's not fun. But there was the trolley driver. In this,
my god, yes,
actually legit laughed out of me. It's like, oh, who did this? What motherfucker did this?
So much about his trolley, even though he probably didn't own it, because like it's like
exactly,
he
just he just loved his trolley beyond belief.
Yeah,
and then like it's totaled.
Yeah, that like they did like fucking 20 like flips with that. I was like, holy shit, this is awesome.
It exploded 30 feet in the air and then slid to obliterate the guy's Ferrari. And then that's when the guy's like, oh hell no, my
the explosions movie were very good. At least
in that scene. There's an explosion later that I'm like, Jesus Christ. Like even as seeing modern Michael Bay movies, I'm like, what the fuck is this? We'll get there with that big action chunk at the end.
Yeah. Also, I think it's a good time to mention that Hans Zimmer was a co-composer on this movie.
Like the Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, and I think during this the car chase, like a lot of it sounded very Pirates of the Caribbean-esque.
And also, like, I heard I got pirate motifs out of this movie's soundtrack.
Like maybe because
I don't know why.
Alcatraz
and right?
Jail and the Sea, Pirates. I don't know. Like, it didn't make that much sense.
You're doing what I'm doing, and you're thinking too hard about this.
Yeah, I think I'm thinking too hard about it. Also,
I did hear the
water explosion, shit. Like in like toward the beginning of it. So like maybe water, pirates.
What?
I'm thinking too much about it.
Sean Connery, pirates, water, Nick Cage, just anyone, throw them all in there. The Rock, put the Rock in there. Oh, sorry, that's not until later.
Yeah, we'll get to the
Rock and
the person from my profile picture eventually.
I'm more fucking hyped to see Mark Wahlberg in a Bay movie, but
yeah,
he's not here, unfortunately.
Yeah, I wonder if he'll he's got to like be like lined up for like Bay's next movie because like him and Bay are like very buddy
Isn't his
buddy.
next movie something like Robopocalypse or some like the most stupid name you've ever thought of
Yeah,
in
I
your
saw
entire
it on
life?
IMDb, but I'm not sure like
If it's real,
if it's like in production or anything.
I hope it's real.
Yeah, it sounds stupid, but like
It sounds like.
but
Oh, I'm looking right now, and it doesn't seem like. Oh, never mind. Announce. My bad. All right.
yeah, I guess we'll get to that eventually. Yeah. So this whole car chase was eventually leading into Sean Connery or so Sean Convict meeting his daughter in the movie, which like okay, like I would say like that part's decent. Like it gives like a good like objective for Sean Connery's character in this movie. For him not to leave and for so his daughter won't get blown up. Yeah, I thought it was fine.
I was surprised. I'm like, oh my god, daughter is gonna be the stupidest thing, and they were on fairly decent terms, and that surprised me.
Yeah,
actually, in these sorts of movies, it's usually, Dad, you left my life. You're a criminal. You're a bad person. And in this,
movie, just didn't know him.
Clear that Sean is not that bad of a person.
To be fair, we don't really know the crimes he did that got him into jail for 30 years.
No, they literally said They literally said it was like a 10-minute scene explaining why he's in jail.
Well, maybe I wasn't paying attention during that part. Wait,
yeah, it was two side characters talking in a fucking random like Pentagon
what did he
room.
do then?
He worked for British intelligence. And he got a lot of secret intel. They literally said aliens in Roswell. So they mentioned that aliens are canon in this, I think. I think that's what that's implying. But he just had a lot of information and hit it. Oh my god,
yes. Oh, but can we get that later? Like,
who really killed JFK?
Yeah.
Like that was name dropped as well. The fact that it was someone else apparently. Yeah. Oh, it was Megatron. It was Megatron. It ties in Dark of the Moon. But CGI JFK should have appeared in this.
That was.
But
yeah, that part was like really funny. And yeah, I'm sorry. I remember that he did get intel, but I forgot like that was like what got him.
That was why he wasn't. He was the thing that the guy did that made him hate him so much. And I mean, honestly, respect for Sean on this one. I understand his grudge. He's just like, oh, if you don't cough up the chip or whatever that has information, we're just gonna keep you here. And then they did, which is not really that legal, but they did it.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I want out of here because I was wrongly convicted. And it's set up very early in the movie with the people and history he references. Like it's fairly obvious that he's in there for a less evil reason than his devious.
Yeah.
Deviousness would imply.
Yeah. Okay. My bad. Completely misread the scene.
What did you think happened?
I don't know. I just kind of felt like they didn't like really talk about it that much. But like,
Sean Connery landed in Roswell. Sean Convict landed in Roswell. Sean Convict killed JFK.
No, I think he did it, but like, I just like, I know he did. For some reason, the parts of my brain where why he went in prison and him collecting the secret intel didn't converge. And
that's fair. I literally didn't understand the plot until 20 minutes in.
Yeah, well, it's okay. No,
we're on even ground here. The I was gonna call it the room. Jesus Christ, The Rock is too smart for us.
Yeah, it's a complex film. Very complex. Yeah. So, there's also another funny Nick Cage line. He says like after, like he gets there with his daughter, and he says, "What do you say we cut the chit chat, a-hole?" He says a-hole and not like asshole.
One beautiful. Yeah, no, it's one beauty. It is rated R.
I'm saying like it's not like it's not a rated R movie or anything, and they can't say asshole. But
oh, I thought you're being sarcastic. The thing about him is that for 90% of the movie, he is 100% PG, like astonishingly so, like Fix It Felix PG. And I think that really added
what about the part where he has
his
sex
character
with his girlfriend?
Well, the PG as in dialogue. He literally says like, "Oh my god." He says every non-curse under the fucking sea, under the sea. I don't even know what I'm talking about. Dang, like darn, dag nabbit. And then he says fuck twice.
Yeah. And of course that great line at the end that I'll get to. But
that was awesome in the stupidest way possible.
Yeah. So they capture Sean Convict again. I'll get that in my memory.
I'm
And
gonna
then
try to.
when they cut back to Ed Harris, I completely forgot he was in the movie because like he wasn't like in the movie for like
He
20
did literally
minutes.
the whole middle of the movie. He's not even mentioned. Well, he's mentioned,
Yeah,
but he's not. He doesn't show up. He doesn't have conversation. It was also like Bad Boys, where Will Smith's just stopped showing up.
yeah,
It's one of those things.
yeah, definitely. Uh, so yeah, so I think like after that was basically the part where like the plot was set in motion, and uh, Nick Cage and a bunch of troops and Sean Convict go into the Rock to save the day. And I think like Nick Cage's whole like I don't want to fucking be there thing was very justified in that he's a loser chemist who would most likely die in any natural scenario.
Yeah,
Uh,
a real situation because they're not just going there. It's not like, oh, we have specialists on. No, they're all fucking like Marines or SEAls,
mhm. But I guess
and
like he's
he's
the one who can defuse the
his
Orbeez
presence
bomb.
is his presence is warranted, but it's he's still over his head.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And of course they had the name drop line, "Welcome to the Rock." Uh, when they actually get there, and
Earlier in the movie, I just a
I
temporary.
started clapping at the screen.
No, I clapped. When Darth Vader appeared, I clapped. But there was one line earlier that fucking like ground my bones in a paste, like really fucking like
What was
hustled
that?
my nuts. It was Sean Connery. One of the first things he says after he's officially freed, and he's talking to the government guys like, I know how to get in. I have a mental map from when I was there, fucking 800 years ago. And then he says like, looks like you're between the rock and a hard case.
Yeah, yeah.
That
I
was the
completely
best
forgot
fucking
about
moment in the
that. It's
movie.
such a good line.
That was the best moment in the movie. I was like compelled to cheer. It's so dumb.
Oh, oh yeah,
That's the
that
first.
is
I
a
think
great line.
I don't think
I
it's
wish
the
movies like
first,
this were
nor
made
is it the.
today.
It was quite magical. But
Yeah,
yeah, does he just say "Welcome to the Rock" in a convention? If he didn't say that, "Welcome to the Rock" would probably be more impactful. Doesn't matter though. He still said it.
yes. Twice ain't bad. So yeah, then we're introduced to The Rock. I think the actual like I've actually been to Alcatraz. Like it's a pretty cool place. I think if I watched this movie beforehand, I would have gotten like petrified that like some American Marine terrorist would put me in the cells and almost die in 2 days. But anyway, I think Alcatraz is a pretty cool place, and I think they executed this movie quite well. Because there's a lot of like different all like the shafts and shit they go through, and you see like the big like all the prison cells, but that's like a little bit later slash earlier in the movie.
You see him. Yeah, you see him both very beginning and near the very end.
Yeah. And and also I feel like this is a motif in so many '90s movies. There's like smoke coming out of like random ass places. You know what I'm saying? Just to make it like a more gloomy
Oh
atmosphere
yeah, like the Spark Factory and Judgment Day.
of everything in Batman '89. Like,
Oh yeah, well, that's Burton. Burton
yeah,
loves his
that's
smoke.
true. But like, there's also like a bunch of other '90s. I think it was in Face Off too. It's like I think it's like
I
smoke
think
coming out of
so.
like
Yeah.
random places. It's just like something that just
For
happens in a lot
atmosphere.
of.
And there was one point where I'm like, okay, I can deal with the smoke being there, and it's when Nick's, I think, diffusing the second missile, second or third one. They split up. That's before Sean Connery starts insulting Ed Harris's character, and he
Right.
walks off, and you see there's just like smoke beginning to billow, and then it completely envelops him as he's walking away. Pretty cool shot.
Hmm.
That's the one excuse I imagine they have for making smoke everywhere. It's for one decent shot.
Yeah. I guess it paid off then because that
It's
was a cool
something.
shot. Yeah. I also just wrote down the military loves Michael Bay because there's so many like action shots of like before they all fucking die. So many cool shots of like the military and then like doing cool shit with Sean Connery. And you know what? Probably some of the better military propaganda I've seen in movies because like it actually did look pretty. It was like that's the part actually did look pretty exciting. Not gonna lie.
They find a way to make it more boring in the first two Transformers movies. I think literally, in the beginning, there's the shot with the song. It's like orange and in the helicopters. I'm pretty sure that's
Yeah,
literally just one of the first shots of the first Transformers. It looks exactly the same.
yeah, I think you're talking about. Also, I should say thank you, Michael Bay, for not going too hard on the orange filter yet. I know you will down the line, but you know what?
He was almost non-existent in this.
Yeah.
That's why I forgot I was watching a Michael Bay movie. There was only a handful of lens flare, like big lens flares, and no one was orange.
Yeah.
People were
Bravo,
less sweaty.
bravo.
People were less sweaty in the fucking evil furnace vents of Alcatraz than in Transformers when Sam Witwiki's like bargaining with his teacher. He looks like he ran a 8K. I don't know what like. Okay, behind the camera, Michael Bay. They need to be more orange and sweaty. Can you lube Shia up? Like I don't know when that started exactly. I guess we're gonna find out. My guess is Bad Boys 2, but that's purely speculation.
Yeah, I think Bad Boys 2 is gonna look pretty orange from like what
I know
I've seen.
the poster's orange. I think that says enough.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Yeah. So then I think they get the the part where like the good military conflicts with the bad military, and then basically it's just a fucking massacre and everyone dies except for our two leads. And
all the evil guys live.
Yeah,
because they have the high ground.
maybe they just suck. Oh well, yeah, I guess they have high ground too. But they couldn't kill like one or two of the notable ones.
I think they did kill they killed one or two of the unnamed faceless ones.
Yeah.
Like Michael Biehn, Tony Todd, the other actor I'm forgetting, the other black guy, they're all fine. And they get to be in the finale, but the other ones don't.
Yeah. So like, they all die. And then I guess this was around the part where I guess Ed Harris starts to have a change of heart. Which I guess like throughout the most of the movie, throughout like the rest of the movie, like it builds up pretty gradually, and I think like it pays off like fairly decently toward the end.
Yeah, the scene at the very end, I think, is one of the better scenes in the movie, honestly.
Yeah, and then I wrote down like Sean Connery keeps leaving the movie for a few minutes at a time because he just keeps fucking leaving, and then he wants to like get out of the movie, and then. But then, like, I guess, like, Nick Cage just keeps convincing him, you gotta come back, save your daughter.
That's what you're saying is very funny, because according to some more information I accumulated, Sean Connery signed on to the movie because he heard Nick Cage was the lead.
Really? That's interesting.
Or maybe, I don't think it's the other way around. I think that's what it is. And that Sir Sean Connery, is like, I don't want to have to go back and forth from the island. Can you build a fucking like cabin on this island? And then they just did. So that might be him just leaving for his newly constructed cabin.
Yeah, it's like I feel like him and Marlon Brando, like or like the two actors, they like everyone just like fucking breaks their backs forward to get in their movie. They're like, Marlon Brando, I will suck your dick. To be in the movie, like
Brando does not try ever. Sean Connery tries sometimes. He has tried in the past, and in this, I think he's trying. I like his.
Yeah,
I think his performance
this is probably his last like major performance where he actually tried.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah, because he's in like fucking Dragonheart or like the Avengers
or
the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
And you can't be trying in that.
Yeah. So I guess like. But yeah, no, he served his purposes. I think he did pretty well. I guess it was worth building the cabin for. Yeah, I think this is also the point where they mentioned that aliens exist in the universe of The Rock, and the JFK assassination was by a different guy.
Yeah,
like, hold the fucking phone.
Yeah, exactly. It's just said so casually.
Yeah,
and yet, I mean, it comes into play kind of at the end, but not the information itself. Not like aliens appear. It's not like JFK comes back, but the information's referenced again in a thoroughly confusing but fun end sequence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I guess Nick Cage convinces him. No, we got convinces him to come back, and now it's just basically those two. The rest of the movie, and I think the rest of it is just pretty much just like action scene, like action after action scene, which is
a little bit of character stuff that they're chipping away at that. Convict, he divulges some more of his backstory to Nick. Nick begins to be the action hero that he is legally obligated to be under Michael Bay.
Yeah. So I'll just use this time to like talk about like some funny lines. Sean Connery says bomb really funnily. It's like bomb. It's like BOAHM. BMB. I think that that's why I wrote it down. It's like bomb or something
Bomb.
like that.
Yeah.
And,
I don't remember him saying it like that, but he definitely probably did.
yeah, and there's also like another scene where they like run majestically away from an explosion. Oh, also I have to say, Sean Connery never goes into a full sprint in this movie. It's always like a casual jog throughout like everything.
Yeah. I mean, I
Yeah,
can imagine. Just because I'm defending him for not trying as little as Brian did doesn't mean he's trying that hard.
yeah.
It's the Seagal effect where you don't need to run if you don't have to. Honestly, outside of the one sequence where they're in the tunnels, I don't feel like running would have really helped much
Yeah, well,
because
there's like a
they
couple
need to be
scenes like
quiet.
where like Sean Connery's like running on like the rooftops of Alcatraz, trying to like I guess
Cuddling,
like
he's not
kill
running.
some of the guys. But yeah, I guess like, but definitely like not in like the actual like
It's not like,
interior
oh,
like
we need to sprint away unless. Well, I think we're actually at the point in the movie where it's just the two of them, where we can discuss the fucking crustiest explosion ever.
yeah that was really I mean like
Tony
it's
Todd drops a grenade. It explodes. Okay, that looks fine. Tony Todd drops a larger grenade. It explodes it's in like an omnidirectional grenade. It explodes and it just keeps exploding in every direction. It literally,
yeah
I'm trying to make it so you can visualize this for you folks at home. Think of what I'm describing. He throws it down a vertical tube. There's two ways you can go horizontally. It goes both ways. There's innumerable horizontal pathways there because it's like a fucking sewer system pretty much. And explosions go through them and then explode up like additional explosions upwards. That really fucked with me.
you know
I was like,
I mean like yeah, but like it's just I mean like for pretty much all these movies like the explosions and like their like duration slash how far they go is basically just like whatever the fuck they want. And yes, they kind
yeah.
of fuck with me too, but like at the same time, like fuck it. You know what?
I
Who
think
cares?
I think I'm this caught up, and once again, this is talking about Michael Bay explosions. The only reason I'm even arguing that it looks stupid is because earlier in the movie there's explosions and they look fine. I would say normal. The car chase, early part of the early part of like the siege, it actually looks like a real movie and not Michael Bay dropping nukes on set. And
Yeah,
then he drops a nuke on. Sorry, Tony Todd drops a nuke on set.
yeah, but it's just yeah, it's really stupid. But like
It looks strange. If you've ever seen the movie, and you probably should, it's fairly fun.
yeah,
And just go to like timestamp like 1:25:05. I have no fucking clue where that is in the movie. Just watch that explosion. It's
yeah.
wrong in a new way for Bay.
Man, I wonder if we'll get like a
Movie
different
too.
type of Michael Bay explosion in every one of his subsequent movies.
Well,
Maybe in like Armageddon or something, we'll have like a space green explosion or something. I don't fucking know.
I don't remember explosion in Armageddon, but they're definitely there.
Yeah. Also, I just to mention the second best line in the movie. It's a close second. Winners go home and fuck the prom queen.
Out of Sean, out of his voice, that fucking
Yeah.
killed me.
It didn't even like make that much sense in the scene either. It's just
Yeah,
it's just basically like a very light metaphor for what they're doing. I guess just being a quote unquote winner. But like at the same time, it's so funny that I don't even care.
the line starts off like, "Look, losers are always concerned with doing their best," and then he's like, "But winner, like that, there's no correlation between those things. I was going to be like, losers are always concerned about their best, and winners just do it. Wouldn't that make more sense?"
No, it wouldn't because they would go and fuck the prom queen.
And then Nick Cage is like, Carla was the prom queen, which is one of the shittiest deliveries in the movie.
Right,
Which made me laugh too. That made me laugh unintentionally, as opposed to the times where I think it was trying.
Yeah. So upon like some of the escapades they do, I should say that I think Michael Bay uses like blood like pretty well in this movie. Like
Yeah.
it's like not like too like it doesn't just like spew everywhere like in Django Unchained or something. But like
No.
it's not like subtle either. It's like a nice like mix for like
You
yeah,
see
it's like obvious.
wounds, you see blood coming out
Yeah.
of it, and it's there,
Yeah, but
but
like
it's not.
it looks nice. It's satisfying to watch. Like see these people get
In,
killed.
in the most fucked up way, yeah. I would
Yeah.
say there are movies because I mean you have movies where people get shot, especially PG-13. They look like they didn't get shot at all. Then you have movies like this, somewhere in the middle, and then you have movies like Django, The Suicide Squad, where it's like comically
Granted, I
overviewed
fucking
for a
love
reason.
Django Unchained and Suicide
Both
Squad,
of
but
those
like
movies are no, I know both movies are great, and the gore being that insane is like part of it. But in a movie like this where it didn't need to be insane, I'm glad it wasn't.
yeah, that was very good. Uh, I wrote this down,
Mine
but I
parts.
completely
Oh,
forgot what it was. Drives a beige Volvo. Oh wait.
yeah.
Oh, you know, no. Nick Cage character said that. Like he's like, oh yeah, I just drive a beige Volvo.
Yeah. My fucking prom queen like supermodel girlfriend and her son or whatever. We're gonna be driving around in a beige Volvo.
Right.
And then I think Sean says it at some point too, like you're driving in your beige Volvo. Wait, you'll get to that beige Volvo at the end of this,
Yeah, I think it was brought back. Yeah.
Some reassuring. Oh my god, a complaint I had with Bad Boy is that none of the jokes made any fucking sense. There are running jokes in this movie. Like there are
Yeah,
things
right.
that are reincorporated, like consistently too.
There are some of the jokes are really stupid, but like they
I
are
don't care if they're
reincorporated.
stupid, but
Yeah.
there's an attempt.
I'll give it to you there, Bay. You made an attempt.
Went from a 0 attempt to 0.5 attempts.
Yeah.
You're getting there.
Yeah. So yeah, then Nick Cage starts dismantling the Orbeez
I
bombs,
think by
whatever
this
we're
point in the
calling
movie,
now.
it's the third missile.
Yeah, or like it's like one of the later ones, but like yeah,
It's
like
there's
those
4.
scenes.
It has to be the third.
Yeah. So then they get cut or whatever, and then of course Sean Connery has a line where he's like, "I'm too old for this," because every
Oh
fucking movie with
my
a
god!
old
Like
action
why,
star has to have
Sean?
the line.
Like
And that
that
oh no,
another
yeah, that's when
grown
they were in the
moment.
mine cart, right?
That was right before the minecart stuff. But no, right?
No, yeah, I think it was
After.
during it. Cause he was like, "I'm too old for cover doing this shit in the mine cart or whatever."
It wasn't. I don't think.
Brandon,
I
why was
remember
there a
him
mine cart
walking
in
the
Alcatraz?
morgue. Oh, you know the morgue, the Temple of Doom morgue dispenser,
Yeah,
and that scene was that was a set, right?
yeah. Of course, it was a set. I mean, I'm not sure how much of this movie was actually shot in Alcatraz, but like, yeah,
I had the thought because I'm like, oh, this is a cool set. I'm like, oh fuck, is this Alcatraz? And I looked it up, and most of the movie is actually on set.
huh?
Like a large majority of the movie is actually within the place. Pretty much
Interesting.
all the daytime stuff, and even some of the action that took place in the end. Not most of it, not the mine carts, and I don't think the morgue either. But the mine cart stuff, look, it reeks of like there was going to be a huge action. I mean, there was a pretty big action scene, but it was mostly just Nick Cage sitting in the mine cart while Sean Convict did just some random shit. It
He had
didn't.
like dangling on the
It
wire for
wasn't.
a bit,
It
stabbing a guy in
wasn't
the neck.
the. Yeah, it wasn't the worst thing, but it definitely paled in comparison. It made me think it was kind of like, oh, we're gonna do this. Oh fuck, we have no money. What do we do? Like
Yeah, I
that's what it
guess.
felt like to me. It felt like a patch job of that scene.
Yeah, I guess you were talking coming from there. I mean, it was fine.
The whole set, there were rails on the other side. You saw that. Like they were intending to do something.
Yeah, I guess
How
so. It might have been cut short, but like, what can you do?
doesn't matter. Yeah, the scene that came out
I
isn't
think I'm being
horrible.
pretty
It's
forgiving
still,
for this movie, not gonna lie. But like at the same time, like I think it's like entertaining in like so many regards that like I'm just willing to
yeah,
forgive it on some of
you know,
its
once again,
logical
it's not
shortcomings.
only is it a solid
Yeah,
movie, it's a solid movie that I think people can
this movie's like
actually have fun with.
yeah, this movie's like 15 minutes longer than Bad Boys, but like, I think like it didn't feel any longer because like it was like better paced than Bad Boys.
I agree
I was
mostly.
enjoying because like I was enjoying most of the film.
I think the only points where it began to drag was right at the end when there's like a kind of falling out. I feel like they could have made that a little more concise. But I don't know if that was a runtime thing or just that those scenes were paced poorly and the rest of this movie was like adequately paced. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from with that. So yeah, then they get caught, and we have the best line in cinematic history here. if I may quote, ahem, how in the name of Zeus's butthole did you get out of your cell?
Jacob,
Yeah,
did you know that line was ad-libbed by Nicolas Cage?
I am not surprised at all.
Michael Bay. Apparently, the fact is that Michael Bay hated it, but Nicolas Cage fought tooth and nail to have it in.
Oh my god, did it? I can picture like Nick Cage like beaming with pride as he watched the premiere in the cinema, and like Michael Bay just
Beaming
shriveling
with
his seat.
pride is
Yeah.
exactly what I see out of that fucking situation.
It's so good. Like that's the line that like makes you like, yeah, this movie's awesome.
And that was the most Cage of his scenes, where he was doing the Cage yells, he was saying silly stuff.
I think it's progressively more Nick Cagey as the movie goes on.
Yeah, I think so. He starts off as he starts off almost like Martin Lawrence, like a kind of dorky everyman, and then as he becomes an action hero, he also becomes more Nick Cage-like. It's quite strange how the development happens.
Yeah.
Not unwelcome.
Yeah, it's not.
Once again,
yeah, it's not unwelcome. And
you wouldn't have heard when we were talking about earlier. You're not going to hear Arnold Schwarzenegger saying that Zeus's butthole.
How in the name of Zeus's butthole did you get out of your cell?
That's okay. You know, him. Now that you're saying a voice, that's probably something you would say in like Terminator 3, but he wouldn't have. He wouldn't have wrote it for himself.
We don't talk about Terminator 3, Salvation, or Genesis. Dark Fate's okay though.
Genesis is fucking hysterical. Shut up.
Genesis is disgusting. I got it. I wish Michael Bay produced that so we could talk. Maybe at a different time.
Wow, I didn't expect this. That's a different opinion. We have to have an extra episode about Terminator Genesis now. Even though Michael Bay has nothing to do
I haven't seen that movie since like 2016. It's just so
fucking
stupid.
horrible.
Yeah.
I love it. It's my favorite bad movie. Speaking of bad movies, just kidding. Speaking of competent movies, we're near the end of the story. We're near the end of the plot.
So you have to get out of your cell because Sean Connery's awesome or something. And then then this is like where Ed Harris is like, yeah, let's not fucking bomb and kill like an entire city, or like
this is after he actually fires the missile. He goes through with it. He's like, you have 3 minutes. I'm not budging. He fires it, and then I guess covertly changes its direction, even though everyone's in the room looking at him. So how could he do that?
He's sly, I guess.
He's very sneaky, that Ed Harris.
Yeah. So then they do that, and then like I guess like a bunch of his crew turn on him, specifically Candyman. He turns on him, and like he kind of becomes like the main antagonist kind of for the rest of the movie.
I think Bean is the antagonist.
Right, Bean. Right. Yeah, I forgot about him.
Tony Todd's character is like the effigy of hatred, but Michael Bean is the guy that actually officially mutinies him.
Right. Yeah.
I also thought that was that whole sequence where they're like, you're taking orders from me, we're not taking orders from you. It's like the dialogue was a bit silly, but the idea I think is quite powerful. That the whole plot that they put their plot, like their plan, was to they're already dissented from the military essentially to threaten them and get reparations, and then at the very end, what ends up being Ed Harris's character's downfall is people mutinying him for not being ruthless enough. I actually thought that was like a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
Like if the character was just like, oh, Nick Cage shoots him 42 times in the chest with a fucking M14, that would have been boring. Now, I'm glad that's not what happened. Yeah, actually, all the villains get, I would say, good send-offs. Ed Harris gets the most like thematically appropriate, and then
fucking I keep forgetting his fucking name. Candyman.
Tony Todd.
Said it.
Tony Todd.
Yeah, Tony Todd. Tony Todd's death in this movie was gnarly.
Literally the sickest thing in any movie. That's like Venom, Let There Be Carnage level dumb. If you'd like to know, good audience, he's threatening Nick Cage in a room where Nick Cage has the ultra missile. He's holding the core, the dangerous part, essentially.
Yeah.
And then he's like, I'm gonna hurt you. I'm gonna put my gun back. I'm gonna have my knife, and he's flipping around the knife just to like, he could have just not done that. He could have just not flipped around the knife, and you're gonna kill him.
He could have
You
not,
were,
but he did.
and then Nick Cage, all of a sudden, I was very confused for a second when this began. He's like, hey, you like music? Like
Oh my
Elton
God,
John's
yes.
Rocket Man? And then Tony Todd's like, I don't listen to pussy ass
It's
shit
you.
like that.
You're the
And then
Rocket
you're
Man.
the Rocket Man. And he fires the missile, launching him out a window where he is impaled on a stake. It is literally the stupidest thing ever.
Yeah.
And I love it. It was that in the stupid line about the rock in the hard place were like the two fucking highlights of the movie. Worth the price of admission.
Yeah. Oh, those are so good.
And then Michael Biehn is like the only named guy left. So he just fought that. I think that sequence, like from Tony Todd's death to Michael Bihn's death, was where the movie felt like it was taking too long, because it's just a lot of him running upstairs, Nick Cage ducking and weaving under the machine gun man. It was that for literally 5 minutes. Like I'm not really joking. It was a lot of redundant actions. I get that Michael Bay has to show them going to the area so it can be accurate, but it ends up with them ending up with them having a quote unquote duel. Nick Cage and Michael Bihn's character, the main dissenter, in looks like a warehouse. I know it's not a warehouse because it's fucking Alcatraz, but like a mini warehouse essentially.
Yeah.
And then he sticks one of the stray chemical balls in his mouth, and he like straight up reptile fatalities him, which was also quite gnarly.
Yeah, they were so.
I knew he was going to kill him with that when one of the balls came out of the cylinder, I suppose. But it shows him dying. It really does, and they explain time and time again how dangerous that shit is. That's set up well, at least.
Yeah, it is very dangerous. Yeah. So I thought. Also, did you notice like toward the end of the movie, like the Nick Cage Jesus imagery?
I thought about that. I felt like if it was trying to go full Zack Snyder,
but yeah.
I actually don't think it was in this case. There's a lot of mention of God, but it's as God, not as Nick Cage's God. Like, Sean Connery's like, oh God, and then Nick's like, oh, we're gonna need God. Or maybe it's switched. I think it's the other way around. Nick Cage says like, oh my God. Sean Connery's like, oh, it'd be good if we had him on our side. Like they use God in the traditional like U.S. Christian military man. Like,
there's like God mentioning these disaster movies. Like it's also in like a lot of Roland Emmerich movies. I'm sure it's gonna be a lot.
Oh my God, is it a Moonfall? Have you seen Moonfall?
Yeah, I have seen Moonfall. I have seen Moonfall.
Is God in Moonfall?
I think they mentioned it a couple of times, but like it's like a
Hell
very big
yeah.
theme in like Dead of Tomorrow or 2012 or shit like that.
Not movies I've seen.
I've seen awesome though. Maybe we have like an Emmerich podcast when we finish.
Oh my God, I don't want to. Okay, I would watch Godzilla '98 because that's a lot of fish, but I don't like. Unlike Bay, I just don't want to watch all of them.
All right, that's fine.
maybe someone else might, but I don't know if that's for.
Okay, so yeah,
we're back on the very end. We're at the very end. There is a scene where he's played out.
There's the green. There's the green like smoke scene where like he's like waving. He's like waving all of his arms.
I'm like, oh my God, it's Tropic Thunder, and then I remembered the release dates of these movies and what Tropic Thunder is.
Yeah, maybe there's a reference to Tropic Thunder.
Well, I'm pretty sure the Nick Cage scene is referencing another older movie. So there's several tiers of this shit.
Yeah. So yeah, the day is saved. Nick Cage lets Connery go, saying that he died. So I guess that's nice of him.
That was nice. I was pleased with how his character ended.
And then like he gives away like his IP address or the IP address of the church.
There's no IP. It's 96. No, he gives him an actual address of the hidden information dossier that has like the release of Aliens. Hello, Stanley. My IP address is 58312. No, he just tells him to go to a random church, and I'm like, oh, it's like a random church in a town. Well, I'm glad they're leaving that open-ended. And then it actually shows Nick Cage in like fucking National Treasure, like Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah.
With his family coming out of a church.
Like
literally
looking ass.
Literally in the middle of a desert.
Yeah. And then and the final line in the movie, when they get the box, honey, want to know who really killed JFK?
Literally the lamest. That felt like a fucking National Treasure one-liner.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually. I mean,
So
I'm glad.
yeah. Overall, I really enjoyed this movie. It I mean, it's not like a fucking masterpiece or anything, but like as a Michael Bay movie and as an '90s action movie, I think it works very well because it takes like what he's best as a director. You know, like campy dialogue, over the top action set pieces. You know, like the romantic type of filmmaking he does, and just like makes
Yeah.
it and just like executes it particularly well in this case.
So, yeah, surprisingly. I mean, I didn't dislike Bad Boys, but I felt it was quite dispensable.
Yeah.
This, I feel, has more staying power, has more of a reason to be rewatched, more of a reason to be watched by new people.
Hmm.
I It is a legitimately entertaining, albeit fundamentally kind of crap action movie. But that's definitely different from a lot of movies this time, which were just straight up bad and not like, I had an
Yeah,
example.
action
Now,
movies were
now
basically like super, or like shitty like gun action movies like this were basically like superhero movies today in the '90s.
Yeah,
Like there were like so
there's too
many of
many.
them.
I had a few examples. I forget them now, but there are almost too many to count. And considering this actually manages to distinguish itself, I mean, shooting on set at Alcatraz is cool. An action movie with Sean Connery and Nicolas Cage is very surreal. That was one of the first things that was like, what the fuck is this movie? Like those are the leads.
Yeah,
Martin Lawrence and Will Smith is like the most like duh, like yeah, they're they're actors. They were popular then, so they're going to be in this movie, so it'll be popular. This felt like these are the people for the roles in the strangest way possible. Which
yeah.
I
I cannot
remember them,
picture anyone else in Nicolas Cage's role or Nicolas Cage, and
and I
not
don't
many other
feel
people
like
on Sean
anyone
Connery.
would really nail the role of Mason as well as Connery does
Yeah, for
either.
sure, for
Other
sure.
people could play it, but his exact a combination of say knightliness because I mean he's been knighted, but like it's like a politeness combined with sarcasm, and then he has to sound like Sean Connery. You're not just gonna get some random Scottish guy.
Yeah,
You're gonna make him a different nationality. No, it's got to be a British Scottish like beard man.
I picture like maybe Liam Neeson playing this role well if it was made today. But like, yeah, I don't think Sean Connery would. I mean, I
Liam
think Sean
Mason
Connery's
has enough
legendary.
shitty fucking action movies to deal with.
Yeah. He's did he, I'm pretty sure he said at one point, like in like 20, like 17 or 18, that he stopped making them. But like he has
Liam
one
Mason?
coming out next week. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I thought it was already out. I don't think he ever stopped. That
yeah.
Liam. Oh,
He
that
has to stop
Liam.
eventually because he's like almost 70 now. But
Well, now no, he'll just take the role of Ed Harris and be the passive ideological villain, like
I mean
in
that would be better. Yeah,
Batman, Begins, which he was good at Batman Begins.
yeah.
Sometimes, some of it.
All right, let's go over some quick trivia facts for this movie.
I already
Here's a
spouted quite a few,
Yeah,
so no
I'll do the
further
ones that
retreat, man.
weren't mentioned already. So apparently, Quentin Tarantino was an uncredited screenwriter on the film, along with Jonathan Hensley, who I believe made The Punisher, who wrote the shooting script, and Aaron Sorkin. So fucking Quentin Tarantino and Aaron Sorkin were involved in this movie,
Okay,
which is
I can. Sorry, you go ahead.
yeah, I like which is like insane because like they're so like radically different in how they write movies. That like it's so weird they work the same project together.
That depending on how much influence they have, I can fully believe that now that I think about it. Because you can kind of see, maybe not exactly the quality, but the air of Tarantino in like that
Yeah.
beginning scene with the hazmat suits.
Hmm.
Larry Vulgar, lots of quick-witted. Well, we're not doing this. You're doing this. You're doing this. And Sorkin would probably cover most of the military jargon because he does like words that are dull that have a moral behind.
Yeah. Except granted, this is probably if he did have like a good amount of involvement in this is probably like one of his weakest scripts.
I don't
But like
assume he had much to do. I don't assume either of
yeah,
them had that much to
yeah,
do,
because
but I
he's not
can
because
see the
yeah they're not
influence.
credited or anything. But like
And
yeah,
you're saying the third guy had something with the Punisher?
yeah, I think he was the director of the first Punisher movie or the 2004 Punisher movie. I think.
Okay. I guess that I mean
That one makes the most sense, I would say.
the Punisher character is about the disgruntled
Yeah,
military and how that affects.
he's
That's
credited in
pretty
the
much
movie, I think. But I don't think the other two
pretty
are.
much the same kind of reasoning that you see with Ed Harris and his goons.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can actually see elements of all three of those. It's still weird to hear those names with this fucking movie, but I don't
Apparently,
think
he
it's as
also
strange.
Jonathan Hensley also co-wrote Armageddon, so look forward to that, I guess.
Oh shit! Sorry, I'm reminded of Armageddon again. Even
Yeah.
though we just mentioned it 5 minutes ago, it's like how I mentioned the Transformers movies as like a sign of fear. I'm afraid of Armageddon.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's
Yeah,
see what
or
else. Here's a
yeah.
pretty interesting one. It's kind of long. There were tensions during shooting between director Michael Bay and Walt Disney Studios executives, because this is technically a Disney movie.
What?
Yeah, who were supervising the production on the commentary track of the Criterion Collection DVD. So there's a Criterion Collection DVD for this movie, I guess. Okay.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
Bruckheimer. Yeah.
Bay recalls
Sorry,
the
sorry.
time. Yeah, sorry. Bay recalls the time where he was preparing to leave the set for a meeting when the executives and was approached by Sir Sean Connery in golfing attire. Connery, who also produced the movie, asked Bay where he was going, and when Bay explained he had a meeting with the executives, Connery asked if he could accompany him. Bay complied, and when Bay arrived in the conference room, the executives' jaws dropped when they saw Connery appear behind him. According to Bay, Connery then stood up for him
You
and insisted
see,
that he was doing a good job and should be left alone.
his godfather.
Yeah,
I will not allow you to
don't.
bully my good friend Michael.
Yeah, it's so weird, like thinking like Sean Connery is like a very well respected actor, and Bay is like one, at least
Knighted.
not at the time, but like now he is like one of like the least respected directors. Like them like having like an actually good
Reminds
relationship.
me a lot of Anthony Hopkins in the fifth Transformers,
Yeah, I guess so.
who is also a very like well acclaimed popular actor in. Well, that's an even stupider movie than this.
Mm-hmm.
But it seemed like Anthony. I don't know what. Truthfully, if that Nick Cage like Sean Carter wanted it because Nick Cage was in is true, I wonder why he took the movie in itself. Like, did he like the scripts? I mean, Transformers 5, I'm pretty sure Anthony Hopkins has gone and saying, like, oh, it seems fun. I'd like to work with Michael Bay. Just because he is like 80 and that
Yeah.
seemed like he was having a fucking great time. We'll get to Hopkins in that movie, but let's just say movie defining character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Uh, okay, let's do one more. Let's see.
Oh
Michael
boy.
Bay's idea for a sequel involves a now married Goodspeed in possession of the microfilm evidence who, wait, yeah, in possession of the microfilm evidence who find himself pursued by the government where nowhere else to turn. He's forced to ask Mason for help. That seems like a very like generic sequel idea, like where
It's
like they're like forced to like come back together but due to some like arbitrary stupid reason.
It's generic and stupid, but it is perfectly let into by the last like 2 minutes of this movie. So
Yeah, I guess so.
I can't say it's out of left field, but it would be. I mean, you can't even do that. We can't even have
Yeah,
The Rock 2. And
unfortunately,
it wouldn't even be The
Connery
Rock
passed.
2. Why would they go back to Alcatraz?
Yeah, but maybe they call it like the brick or something. Maybe
the,
set it in a
the,
different
the
like
brick?
defunct monument.
Oh, The Rock is an actual nickname. Is there a place that's nicknamed The Brick that I should know about?
The Alamo,
Round
maybe.
bricks. Oh shit, dude! The Alamo Pee Wee Herman shows up. What's his face? He's still doing Pee Wee Herman stuff, right?
Pee Wee. Wait, what are you talking about with Pee Wee Herman?
Have you not seen the Pee Wee's Big Adventure?
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay, well, the Alamo
Is that
has
a
a
big
major
like
role,
set piece in Pee Wee's Big
and not
Adventure?
exactly a set piece, but it does have an important story element in that movie.
Is Pee Wee's Big Adventure good?
It's definitely not the worst. It's pretty entertaining. It's kind of liken it to another movie. I can't. It's a road trip style movie with Pee Wee Herman, who's this chaotic, fucking nightmarish. I know we're trailing, but we're near the end, so I think it's fair to have a small diversion because I
Yeah,
need to remember what the fuck Pee Wee's Big
I'm a bit
Adventure
of
is.
a Pee
It's
Wee
just
Herman novice. All I basically know is
it,
the "this is quack" thing.
Yes, yeah, that's pretty good. That's the serious side of Pee-wee. Pee-wee's Big Adventure is the emotionally driven, more tragic side. No, just kidding. It's a fucking stupid, silly kids movie. Remember there was a scene in a truck where someone gets you get jump scared by someone in the truck. That's all I remember really. But the Alamo's in there too.
Okay, good to know. Maybe I'll check that out at some point.
Not a Michael Bay movie,
It's a Tim
and
Burton movie,
definitely.
right?
Oh, I don't. I mean, it probably is, but
I looked it up and I think it is. I think it was like one of his first movies.
It has exactly the kind of vibe you'd expect out of a Tim Burton movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pee-wee's Playhouse, the show. Oh yeah, Pee-wee's Playhouse. There's a fucking like blue chair, and I think it's
I do
voiced
know the
by
blue chair.
Blue
Yeah.
Chair, voiced by Lawrence Fishburne. I
It's
think.
so that chair is gross. Yeah, I was never a Pee-wee kid. Although to be fair, that was like
I
30
didn't
years
watch
before
the
my
show.
time,
I
or
just
20
watched
years.
the movie.
Yeah.
Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Yeah, it's Tim Burton's fucker.
That mofo.
Movie would be better if you're up in Michael Bay, I think. It does have the same Technicolor nonsense and incoherent plot, so
I
we're
just
already
picture him
most
like
away.
Pee Wee Herman, like fucking like jumping away from an explosion with like his gaping mouth. Oh my god, dude!
That was a big explosion, kids. When's Paul Rubens showing up in Ambulance 2, Electric Boogaloo?
Dude.
Why am I even saying that? Why am I getting ahead? Why is Paul Rubens not in Ambulance 1?
That is a great question.
All right, if I see Ambulance.
What was that thing? Was he like? Did he go to jail for something? Like something recently?
No, Jacob, you're thinking of James Mason from The Rock.
No, I'm not thinking about James. Shut up.
I don't know, but probably. Maybe the Michael Bay Paul Rubens movie is actually a documentary.
I hope so. That would be funny. Yeah. So Michael Bay.
I'm glad we ended this the right way.
If you're watching this, make Pee-wee's Big Adventure 2, please.
There actually is already a sequel, a Netflix only sequel called Pee-wee's Big Top. I don't know if it's good because I've never seen it, but we need another one. We need The Rock 2, Pee-wee's Revenge. Bring back Nick Cage. Fucking make a horrible, terrible CGI Sean Connery, disrespect his fucking life, and then put
burn his
Paul
image to
Rubens
the
in
ground.
Yeah, look like fucking Rogue One Tark in his ass.
Yeah.
Make it look as bad as possible. And now you're gonna get my ass in the seat with that.
Yeah, for sure. Okay.
I think we've covered pretty much all the ground we needed to.
I think that's pretty much it. So yeah, guys, watch The Rock. It's pretty funny.
Watch Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Watch Pee-wee's Big Adventure, I guess. Maybe I'll watch that before the next one, so I could.
They're both 5 out of 5 movies, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe I'll get to that. I'm not making any promises though, because Pee-wee's Big Adventure. But yeah. I think that's pretty much it. Join us next week when we cover Armageddon.
Motherfucker.
I think that was the film that pretty much like cemented Bay as like that.
I'm gonna cry.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm losing my shit. It's like 2 hours. It's like 3 hours. It's 3 hours, Jacob.
It'll be great. All right. Take care, everyone. See you next time.